We are back with Nalongo Alinda Ikanza. She is a wife, a mother to 4 girls, and a tech lawyer. And guess what? She just made top 40 under 40. How do you feel?
Oh, I feel honored, really. I don't think there's anything extraordinary about my life, so...
This feels extraordinary.
Well done.
Yeah. She's joining us on the show today, and she never met her biological mom, and she's here to share her journey with us. Welcome to the show.
Oh, thank you. You ladies are doing amazing and important work.
Thank you.
So nice to spend time with you.
Thank you, thank you. We want to start from the beginning. We want to hear this story that denied you the chance to meet your mom.
Okay, first, I've never felt like it denied me anything, but my mom died when she was giving birth to me. And the interesting thing was that she was actually a midwife who was doing her medicine degree. So she was quite the powerhouse. She was quite the backbone of our family. She was a super woman. And so her death was very, very devastating. And I think that in the process of trying to protect me from it, nobody ever tells me so much about what actually happened. So what I know about it is bits and pieces that I've picked from
different people.
Different people, yes. So her, I think, best friend and very, very close, she was her maternal cousin, but they were very close because they were both in the medicine world, took me on from birth. Yes.
Oh, so this is who eventually
is my mother.
Oh, okay. Oh, who is now you call your mother?
Yes.
So why her? Why not anyone else? Or dad or any other aunt or friend? Why her?
Okay, so you have to remember that all the answers I'm going to give you are mad understanding, which I'm sure many of my aunties will probably have a lot to correct about.
Okay.
But I think that my mom and her were very, very close. They were very close. My mom, so I'm going to keep saying my mom, but that's my mom now.
Yeah. Oh.
Was 6 months pregnant with her first child.
Okay.
So maybe she was the one who was in that baby mind frame. I don't know. But this was 1982. It was aborted too. There were bullets flying everywhere. So I think that all the times I've thought about how she made the decision, it must have been one of impulse, like maybe an overwhelming need to protect me from what should have been very devastating. Yeah.
And you're very, very vulnerable. You were just born. I mean, I feel like it's more than impulse. That mother protect instinct probably kicked in.
Yes, and I'm told I was very difficult. I cried every time they were trying to hide under the beds, and my dad, so my mom's husband's reaction was to always pick me and take me back to my grandmom, and my mom would go back and take me back, and it was. And that's why I think that for her, it was an act of selfless love, because what she did was really, I don't think she realized what she was getting into.
Yeah. And I think I want to actually get into what she was getting into. What happened in her home? I mean, she's 6 months pregnant.
She's 6 months pregnant.
She's bringing in a child. She's been married. Like, what's going on in that home?
At that point, she's been married 5 years. So our parents were all really huge, very involved in politics. I'm told my dad was not around when my mom died. He got back to find that she'd been buried. And apparently he held me. My dad was a philosopher, like a literature professor, like he was always thinking things and rationalizing them. And apparently he only held me once and said, I owe you your mom, and you owe me my wife. And that was chapter closed for him. So I think that in many ways, maybe my mom knew all the dynamics about where I was going to end up and what was going to happen, and she felt that she needed to cover me.
So Alinda, you mentioned your mom passed away when she was having you, and then your new mom, who's now your mom, had been married 5 years, right? So this was her first baby.
Yes.
was it your mom's first baby as well? Were you your mom's first baby?
No, I was the 6th.
Wait. Wait.
Yes. My biological mom had 5 children before me, 2 girls and 3 boys. And they were very little because the boy I follow was 3, I think, or 2.5. And then the oldest was 12.
So your mom, your current mom, now took you from the environment of those siblings to raise you on her own. And then what happens to the rest of your siblings?
The rest of the siblings, because our dad was involved in politics and my mom was the one that raised the kids, the rest of my siblings largely. Maybe I could be wrong, but they were taken over by our grandmom. My mom's mom.
Okay, so that's why they used to take you, and then your
yes,
right now mom would pull you back.
I think she was the she was the next of kin in the way the setup was.
Okay.
She was the one that naturally fell into my mom's shoes because she had only 2 children, my mom and her brother.
Oh, wow. And your relationship with them now is what?
Well, so she I think that growing up, I always felt as though there was sort of a friction that came from me being removed from her. So instead, I was very, very close to my other grandmom. She's 99 this year, and she's still one of my best friends.
To your mommy's mom?
Yes, my mommy's mom.
Your
Yes.
current mom's.
So you moved from position number 6 to position number 1.
Yeah.
And then your relationship now with your siblings, okay, I get the one for your grandmom because there was literally a fight for you. But then now what's your relationship with your siblings?
So now my siblings stayed with my grandmom in the village. Actually, 2 of my grandmoms in the village. And I was in town. So but not in that kind of way because our villages are really, really nice places. Like, I'd rather be there any day. But in a way, we were really disconnected. And remember, my mom's approach was, "You're my child." She's never had this conversation with me. I do not know anything from her. Everything I know is pieced from other people with big mouths. And some of the most amusing parts of my discovery part would be maybe we are with a relative that doesn't know that she hasn't told me. And then the person is like, "So is this?" And then my mom is trying to wink, she's trying to signal, but maybe it has already come out, or maybe she said, "Yes, this is my firstborn." And so I thought they were my cousins. I thought my siblings were my cousins. Yes.
Wow.
Took on the role
And as firstborn to my other siblings. And the difficult part was that I am a splitting resemblance of the cousins. So it was really confusing. I'd look, when they would visit over the holidays, which was very common, I'd look at them and we have very queer features. We have white nails, we have bad teeth, we have...
Wow.
So it was really funny.
I look like my cousin.
Yeah, and then my dad's features, because my mom and dad sort of looked alike. So growing up, when I met my dad, he was my uncle for all purposes. But he was an uncle that wielded so much power.
Yeah.
Like when he would be home, even if I hadn't done anything and he wanted me to be punished, I would have to lie down. And I would be like, but why? And so it was really, really a confusing period. But I think that because there was absolutely no difference in how we were raised. Absolutely, like my mom's love, my parents' love was so pure and so complete. And so, sometimes I see people who have adopted kids like I was adopted, and then maybe they are taken to another school. Maybe these ones are both. Yeah. Now for me, that love was so complete. that these other guys who were trying to whisper things to me had to be the wrong ones.
No way.
Yeah, I'll be like, it's not possible. Because we also had other families that had exactly the same arrangements. Because, you know, growing up, we all, I think, had to co-opt different siblings as orphanage happened and what.
Yes.
So it was very common that you had other families where somebody else was not a real sibling.
Yeah.
But for them, they would be treated differently. Now, for me, it was, actually, I grew up with my sisters as though we were twins. The one my mom had 3 months after me.
Yes.
But now at this point, you seem to have affirmed that they were not wrong. Yes. So when did this affirmation come? When did you learn, and how did you actually learn to be in a place that, you know what, yes, even if it doesn't change anything, this is what the facts were?
Yes. When did it
Yes.
become a fact?
Yeah, where and how old were you, and when, where, who talked in your ear that day, or did you land on papers somewhere in a drawer?
Yeah, I think the defining moment was when my biological dad passed. Okay. Because I think I was 12, maybe. Was I 12? I can't remember. But there was this, you know, condolencing response to me as well. And I had always had, so in the process of wondering what exactly might be the truth, I'd always thought that, okay, maybe my mom had me, but for this other guy, I don't know, I didn't know what it was, but I knew that it had something to do with him. Again, because he was the dad of the guys that I really looked like. So one of them was our third born was called Gilbert, and he was the closest of my siblings to me. And he would write me letters. Because at some point, I think he's the one I asked, and he told me the whole truth. Yeah. But of course, he wouldn't tell me. I think the general impression was that this was stuff that would hold me back or make me sad. Or
so like you'd blame yourself because your mom died giving birth.
So that's exactly what I said to him. I said to him, I think he wanted us to celebrate my birthday or something. And I said, but for what? When it caused so much pain to all of you. And he was like, no. And I think he took it upon himself to write me letters. Every time I was in school, he would send notes, gifts. And he's the one. And then he also collected for me all my dad's letters, to most of them.
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah. Got us all sad. Okay. How do you feel your current mom filled your biological mom's gap? Yeah. How do you think she did?
Wow.
That's a funny question because I don't think you ever felt a gap. Yeah.
Yeah.
Exactly.
Yeah.
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 I think that she did more than my biological mom could have ever done.
Yeah.
Because for her, I don't think it was ever natural. Yeah. I don't want to cry, guys. No. Okay. And I think that growing up, once I realized that she was not my mom, for me, there wasn't a point or a chance that I could disappoint her. Guys, I don't want to cry. Papi, cut. Let me first compose myself.
Like, why did she pick you? I like what you said about it being, it wasn't natural. She picked you.
Yeah.
And that makes all the difference.
Yeah. And she picked me against so many odds.
Yes.
And against a lot of hardship.
Yeah.
So I think that realizing the sacrifice she had made sobered me up at many occasions.
Yeah.
Even if I would be maybe determined to cut a class or to be foolish. Hey, I would think about mommy and I'd be like, no, I cannot do this to her. I can't do this to her. And it has been a very defining part of who I turned out as. Because I can't take her love for granted at any level. And so many times, like when she needs anything done, I always feel like, well, the rest can afford to pass it, but for me, it falls on me to make sure that it's done.
Happens,
yeah, it happens.
Yeah.
So in many ways, I've had a chance at a personal level to experience what she probably went through.
Yeah.
And I realized that she probably had to convince like her entire family, her husband, her friends, and there were probably people who would be saying, "But what's your problem?
You're even pregnant at
and now why are you?"
one?
And then I'm now a mother of twins, so I've seen what it is to have two babies, and then for her it was like 3 months up, one stage apart. So, and it must have been really, really, really a very difficult decision for her to make, and that always increases my love, my sense of loyalty, and my dedication to her, because and so later, when you're raised by a grandmom, you're not raised by the same standards. I've seen how my mom now treats my kids. She'll let them do whatever they want. and that's sort of the arrangement that my siblings had. Yeah, and so many times I felt they didn't live up to their full potential, because especially I always remind them that the blood that flows in our veins is of, a medical doctor and a professor of their time. That was really as big as it comes. And so for me, the structure and the consistency and the discipline that this household gave me was what helped me live to my full potential. And at each stage, my mom never gave me anything less, anything at all less. Because, for example, when I had to go to law school, to university, the marks I had were for education, and I was happy. I had convinced myself that. So, and she said, no, you have to have your first choice. Against whatever it takes, you have to have your first choice. Yeah, so she's quite... she really is.
Numbers, because I know that sometimes these angels exist, where you meet somebody, especially in those days where there was no AIDS, people would breast people's children, and people were less self-centered, I could say. My question is, if your baby sister was about 3 months younger than you, wasn't that the first indication you got when you were trying to add things together?
Okay, so that was very dramatic. So because we were the same age. We went to school at the same time.
Yes.
We were usually in the same classes.
Yes.
So I remember it was, I think, either P4 or P5. The teacher teaches us about 9 months. A woman, we were learning the gestation periods of different animals.
Yes.
So a woman, 9 months, a cow, I don't know how many months, 2 years. So the whole class is like, wait a minute. But what about these two? Yeah, and we're just as curious. We're like, no, this cannot be the true, the true science. And so the teacher laughs it off and like, those ones need to talk to their mom. Next, and he carries on with his lesson. So we go home and we sit my mom down and we're like, wait, mommy, today we learned that you were pregnant 9 months, so something is not adding up. And she's like, no, wait. So I had Linda first, and then Frida was not ready. So 3 months later, I also had Frida.
That's the story she told you.
That kind of yes. One was a bit too hurried.
Came out, they closed up.
The other one stayed growing.
Yeah, so we were like,
I've had that story
that makes sense. And you see, because my mom she has all our devote, like, I don't know what, like we believe everything she says. Well, she's like, this teacher is teaching the whole class wrong things, but hoping. Yeah, so all our lives were siblings, like, I mean twins. All the pictures, it's the two of us, completely different. Of completely, yes. They confuse a little. Yeah, same clothes, same everything, same classes, and we're also very different in our personalities. So it was quite dramatic.
So we are wrapping up. I just wanted you to give you a chance to shout out your mom by name, because you wanted to tell us what their names are, your mom and your dad.
Yeah.
And then maybe a message to moms that are raising children that are not their own. A lesson that you've picked from your own experience, and maybe what you tell them to inspire them.
Okay, so my mom is Joy Chiombo. Her husband was the late Christopher Chiombo. And if you look at all my documents, you will find that
Chiombo,
my parents
yeah.
are Mr. and Mrs. Chiombo. My biological parents were Unia Matene and Ospatavowe.
Okay.
Yeah. And I think that for every mother out there, I think that the defining quality of a mother is love.
Yeah.
And our hearts are capable to love
Yeah.
in a full and complete way if we don't let different things interfere with that love. It's really, really possible, because I can tell that I brought my mom a lot more joy than I think when she has to look at the different kinds of joy she gets from all of us that she raised. There's no difference.
Yeah.
There's absolutely
Yeah.
no difference. And it's the same thing for me. Maybe if my mom had lived and I had to decide between the two of them, I would maybe see a difference. But growing up, I always knew that my mom loved me. Like, even if she caught a flu, I would already be so worried. She has to get well, because instinctively you can tell when someone loves you.
Yeah.
And I think that if any mother that is not raising her own biological kids helps a child to experience that love, then there will be no need for questions. There won't be much to answer, because love truly covers over a multitude of sins and is complete in answering and dealing with all the fears. Because I've never felt like I didn't have a mom. I had a mom, an amazing one.
Yeah. Oh, Linda, thank you so much for sharing your story and for allowing to be vulnerable. I honestly believe that the people who are watching are going to be inspired, especially those that have also grown up without their moms. Maybe they didn't have hope, and now they know that they can have the same hope that you had. So thank you so much for sharing. If you have a similar story, you know of someone who didn't grow up with a mom, or somebody who is raising a child that's not their own, please do share on our social media platforms. You have a message for Alinda, please comment below. Thank you so much for watching. Until next time, with love from Bump Love.